You know, multiple fronts in this war to get trade and free trade and capitalism back on good footing, you know. We hear about the Chinese coming after our intellectual property. They do that every day. They send their students here to fleece our intellectual property, to take it back home and give us nothing for it. But it's not just the Chinese, it's a lot of folks. Michael Toth is an attorney, research fellow at the Civitas Institute at the University of Texas, Austin. He's joining me now because he says it's Europeans' lawfare against American innovation we also need to be concerned about. Michael, thank you for being here.
Oh, it's so great to be on with you. And Steve, yeah, it's not just me who says that. President Trump has said that. I mean, he said that the Europeans actually treat the U.S. worse than China.
In some ways, that's probably true. We have knocked out a deal with UK on the trade issues and got rid of the tariffs and so forth. But what about unfair tax policies in the EU that also create problems for our tech industry? Tell me about that, Michael.
Yeah, I'd love to. The EU is a huge issue for American companies. It's 27 countries that act as a single bloc. And what President Trump has pointed out is these 27 countries that act as a single bloc, they realize the amount of leverage that they have. American companies can't just avoid doing business in Europe. And how is Europe using the power that they have? They're trying to put a regulatory stranglehold on American companies. And that's what my piece in the Hill is all about. And that's what the Trump administration is trying to solve. President Trump made that point real clear in his press conference in May when he announced the 50% tariffs. It's about time that an American administration is standing up for American companies.
So when they act as one, I mean, there are a lot of conversations ongoing with the EU to put in trade policies that are fair to the United States. I believe we'll get there. I believe we'll get there with everybody, just a matter of time. But give me some examples of what the EU has done. You know, and I'm concerned about the EU for a variety of reasons, Michael. Look at the way that they're clamping down on free speech. I mean, if you post something that they don't like on Facebook, they knock on your door at 3 in the morning and arrest you. It's crazy. There is no free speech in Europe. They want central bank digital currencies for all so they can control every aspect of your financial life. And if they control that, they can tell you what you're allowed to buy, what you're not allowed to buy. I mean, this is all part of the United Nations plan for 2030, isn't it?
Steve, you've put your finger exactly on the pulse here. Europe is trying to be a regulatory superpower, right? We think about the United States of America, our great company. We're an economic superpower. We're lifting people out of poverty. We're providing economic opportunity across all income levels. That's what we're doing in the United States. Europe is taking a very, very different approach, and it's getting clearer and clearer and clearer. So you asked for some examples about the discriminatory taxes. What they do in Europe is they set taxes up and they have these arbitrary levels, right? Where if you go above a certain level, then you're subject to extremely onerous taxes. Well, guess what? The only companies that are above those levels are American companies. So I talk in the piece about these digital taxes that apply to American companies, and the Europeans are completely honest about it. They refer to these taxes as a GAFA tax, referring to Google, Apple, Facebook, and Amazon. Well, guess what all those companies have in common? They're all American companies. And so it's in the digital space, it's in the energy space for some of the climate rules that they have in Europe. You know, what Europe is doing is trying to set the rules for the way the world economy works because of the power that they have. And so the U.S. needs to stand up against that. And we need to do it for economic reasons, but we also need to do it for constitutional reasons, like you pointed out, around free speech. So this is a real battle. I think the president has played his cards very well. Like you said, he got a deal with the UK. He's warming up for this real battle that we're going to be having this summer with Europe.
Yeah, you know, and as we sit here talking about censorship and so forth, I just got a notice from YouTube that me pointing out that the Houthis should not be sinking American ships was flagged on YouTube. Yeah, it just popped up while we're sitting. So it's all this regulatory nation idea. If people think it can't happen in America, it happens every day here in America, every single day. Censorship, a clamping on free speech. And look, I've said this a number of times on this program, Michael. I believe that the First Amendment of the United States Constitution is the envy of the world. The envy of the world. And yet, people here would have it destroyed, wouldn't they?
Yeah, it's that. I mean, here's another obvious thing that we have in the United States that they don't have in Europe, which is reliable, affordable energy, right? And you look at what the European regulatory state is doing. I mean, they took the climate agenda from the United States and they put it on steroids. I think they operate based on acronym fatigue. They throw out all these acronyms in their regulations and they just figure people are gonna zone out. But they had two major regulations in Europe that basically took what we were thinking about doing under the Biden administration and they cubed it, they squared it, they made it exponentially larger. And what does it all do, right? You saw the news from Europe just last month. Blackouts in Portugal, blackouts in Spain, right? You've got working people who are trying to put food on their table, like you said, Steve, who want to live a life where they can think what they want to think, they can say what they want to say, they want to put food on the table. And the European way is very much like what we saw during the previous administration. It makes these basic desires that people have for economic opportunity and the ability to speak their mind, it makes them impossible and really subject to the whims of the elites. That's what it comes down to, Steve, from my perspective.
Yeah, and I agree with you on that, Mike. Look, they sit there and they give you the illusion of free speech, the illusion of free elections, the illusion that you have some say as a person casting a ballot in a republic like the United States, but really, do we? I'm not sure. Mike Toth, greatly appreciate you being here. You can find his work, brand new op-ed today in The Hill. All right? Find it, Michael Toth. Sir, thank you.
Hey, great to be with you, Steve. Let's do it again.
Let's do it again sometime soon. There you have Mr. Toth. I greatly appreciate it. Look, the freedom of speech is under attack all the time. I just got a warning, seriously, from YouTube. We're talking about the Houthi rebels that have been attacking American ships for months. And I'm wrong. Ha! Okay, we'll take a break and be right back.